The alarm shrieked through the crystalline corridors of the Zephyrian Imperial Palace, its piercing wail echoing off walls that pulsed with bioluminescent veins. Queen Vexaria's forearms slammed against her command console, her chitinous exoskeleton crackling with electrical fury, as holographic displays showed empty chambers where her daughter should have been. "Find her!" the queen hissed, her mandibles clicking in a rhythm that made even her elite guard tremble. "Find Princess Nikara before I turn this entire sector into cosmic dust." Alexander Chen stood at attention in the outer security station, his human frame dwarfed by the towering Zephyrian warriors around him. At 26, he was the youngest human ever assigned to the Imperial Guard, a position that had raised more than a few eyebrows among the alien nobility. His brown eyes remained fixed ahead, but his enhanced hearing caught every word of the Queen's rage. The Zephyrians were a warrior race, standing 9 feet tall with razor-sharp claws and the ability to phase through solid matter at will. Their queen was particularly fierce, having conquered 17 systems in her youth. The disappearance of her only child, 7-year-old Princess Nikara, had transformed her from merely intimidating to absolutely terrifying. "Human," Captain Crixtel's voice boomed as the massive alien materialized beside Alexander. "Your species is known for unconventional thinking. Where would a young princess hide?" Alexander's mind raced. He'd been stationed at the palace for 8 months, long enough to observe the princess during her daily routines. Unlike her mother, Nikara was curious rather than conquest-minded, often sneaking away from her tutors to explore forbidden sections of the palace. "Permission to speak freely, sir." "Granted." The princess enjoys places that adults consider unreachable or unimportant, somewhere small, quiet, where she can observe without being observed. Captain Crixtel's head tilted, a gesture Alexander had learned indicated deep thought among Zephyrians. "The security scans show no life signs in the restricted areas. What about areas without security scanners?" The captain's 4 eyes widened. A revelation. The old maintenance shafts, they were sealed decades ago, considered too small for Zephyrian use, but not too small for a child, or a human. 20 minutes later, Alexander found himself crawling through a network of narrow tunnels that honeycombed the palace's foundation. His standard-issue flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing pipes and conduits that hummed with the palace's life support systems. The other guards had deemed the passages impossible to navigate, but Alexander's smaller frame allowed him to move through spaces that would trap a Zephyrian. It was, he reflected, one of the few times being human-sized was an advantage in this galaxy of giants. A soft sound ahead made him freeze, something like a whimper. Alexander moved forward carefully, his light revealing a wider chamber where several tunnels converged. There, in the center of the space, was Princess Nikara. The young Zephyrian was curled into a tight ball, her usually iridescent skin dulled to a fearful gray. Her small frame shook with each breath, and Alexander realized with a start that she wasn't hiding. She was trapped. A section of the ceiling had partially collapsed, blocking the exit she'd used to enter. "Princess?" Alexander kept his voice gentle, remembering how easily startled she could be. Nikara's head lifted, revealing large luminous eyes filled with tears. "Guard Alexander? How did you find me?" "I thought like a kid who wanted an adventure." He smiled, settling cross-legged in front of her. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head, then immediately winced. "My leg is stuck under the metal. I tried to phase through, but I'm too scared and it won't work right." Alexander had learned that young Zephyrians couldn't control their phasing abilities when distressed. He examined the debris. A fallen support beam had pinned her lower leg, but not severely. For an adult Zephyrian, it would be trivial to move. For a frightened child, it might as well be a mountain. "I'm going to get you out, okay? But first I need to call your mother." "No." Nikara's eyes flashed with panic. "She'll be so angry. I wasn't supposed to explore here. She said it was dangerous and I didn't listen, and now—" "Hey." Alexander's voice was firm but kind. "Your mother isn't angry because you disobeyed. She's angry because she's scared. There's a difference." As he activated his communicator to report their location, Alexander began talking to keep the princess calm. He told her about Earth, about human children who also got into trouble exploring places they shouldn't. He explained how parents across species worried about their children, how love often looked like anger when fear was involved. When the rescue team arrived, led by Queen Vexaria herself, who had somehow managed to compress her massive frame into the tunnels, they found an unexpected scene. Princess Nikara was no longer gray with fear but glowing softly with contentment, curled against Alexander's side as he told her stories of human adventures. The queen's fury died as she saw her daughter safe and calm. With efficient movements, she lifted the debris that had trapped Nikara, then gathered the child into her forearms. "Thank you, Guard Chen," she said, her voice uncharacteristically soft. "It seems humans possess a different kind of strength than we previously understood." As they made their way back through the palace, Nikara refused to let go of Alexander's hand. "Will you tell me more stories tomorrow?" she asked. "If your mother permits it, Princess." Queen Vexaria looked down at her daughter, then at the human who had succeeded where her mightiest warriors had failed, not through strength or technology, but through empathy and understanding. "I believe," the queen said slowly, "that Guard Chen's storytelling duties should become a permanent assignment." Later in the security briefing, Captain Crixtel would note that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their adaptability or their stubborn refusal to surrender, though those were formidable. It was their ability to comfort the frightened, to find the lost, and to understand that sometimes the smallest person was exactly the right size for the job. In a galaxy full of warriors and conquerors, humans had brought something entirely different to the table. The radical idea that gentleness could be a form of strength, and that caring for others wasn't weakness, it was the most powerful force in the universe.